Hello. I might need to turn my light on. I'm going to let you guys sit here for just a second. It's a little dark down here. There we go. Now we put some light in this space. How are you guys today? I believe it's Friday the 13th of July. Did not feel like a Friday the 13th to me. Lots and lots of blessings. Lots of cool new energy came in. And I was up last night and I got so much written in my book, which is so exciting. I have no idea where this is going to go, but it's very cool. So as you're jumping on, say hi. Drop me your favorite emoji, emoticon, whatever you want to call it. Crazy, amazing, incredible energy that has happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. But I want to talk to you guys about relationships. So if you're just coming on, say hello. This is Amanda Smith. I'm in my basement. What? Yeah, look at all these people jumping on. Hello, guys. Hello. Are you guys having a kick-ass Friday? It's been a good day. It has been a very, very good day. Okay, so... Oh, gosh. There's been so many of my friends. I just keep getting these messages. I had a friend that I was in the military with that actually was killed on a motorcycle. And that was about 2 weeks ago. And my heart just breaks. And it's, death is something, I actually do want to do a live about life and death. That will be one of them. That's one of the chapters in my book. That's actually part of the reason I was put here on this planet, is to help people with the perception of life and death. It's not easy to talk about, so I got to get that figured out before I come to y'all with like the hard stuff, right? Okay, this live today, who is excited to talk about relationships? Put a 1 in the comment. Oh my gosh, your hubby got in a car accident Friday the 13th. No! I'm glad he's okay. I have a friend who last year lost her husband to a murder in June. I know, death is so crappy. I am going to do a live about it. I've got to get some stuff organized so that it comes across the right way, because our perception about life is getting turned upside down, and our perception about death is getting turned upside down. But this is about relationships, okay? So who's excited about this? Okay, I think I asked if you're in a relationship, type 1. If you're not in a relationship and you're looking for love, type a 2 in the comments. I have been part of an app called Purple Ocean. It is a psychic app. I go in and I read people. They get to send me a video blog, or they get to send me a message, and then I go in and I read their energy and I help them figure out their love life. You guys, this has been one of the craziest things for me, because I'm extremely blessed in the relationship department, but I have had a lot of struggle when it comes to finding my own, being too overbearing, talking too fast, all that stuff with relationships. So I wanted to come and talk about it a little bit, because sometimes we put ourselves, and in my dreams last night, I was actually holding up like a cookie sheet with like wires, because sometimes we put ourselves in a prison, right? We put ourselves in this prison of this idea of what a relationship should look like, or what it doesn't look like, or all of this stuff. So I'm going to read to you out of the book that I love this book. It's called The Secret Languages of Relationships. If you stick with me till the end, you can type in your spouse's birthday, month and day. I don't need the year. And your birthday, month and year, and I will tell you guys a little bit about your relationships, because it's kind of cool. So besides coming into this world, right, relationships in general, right, like we can have relationships with friends, with coworkers, we can have relationships with our children, we can have relationships with our neighbors. Relationships are crazy, but in the first two, are you in a relationship, spouse relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, or are you not? Because I want to kind of see where I'm at here. Okay, we are very rarely left alone from the time that we're born, right? From the time that we're in the womb, we are with our mothers, and then from the time we come out, we are with our parents, or we are being taken care of, right? And then we live our lives with our family, or in the place that we call home, whether you live in an orphanage with your grandma and grandpa, whether you're being raised by family members, you're being taken care of, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, we're put out into the earth, and we're put out into the world, and now it's time to find a mate, right? It's time to find this relationship. Well, some people, they don't want a relationship. They don't necessarily want to get married and have kids, and they don't want to do the traditional, thing that our parents did, right? They want to have a social group. They want to have family with their friends. They want to have relationships with their peers, whatever it is. But the common wisdom is that creatures raised in isolation, they actually go mad. They wither and then they ultimately die, which we're all working towards the grave, right? But this need for others appears to be inescapable. No matter what you want in your life, whether you want a relationship or whether you want to be in love and have a family and all this stuff, a relationship is something that we can let flourish us and embrace us, or it can allow us to destroy ourselves and others also. Oh, yay, I just found out what kind of camera somebody has. I like that. I like these messages I get when I'm on lives, and I'm trying to stay on track, y'all. Okay, so doing all these readings and doing all this stuff, I realized that so many people put their happiness in someone else's box. They put their happiness in the hands of someone else. Will he love me? Will he be in a relationship with me? Is this woman gonna want to be with me forever? And these questions are so hard because everything we do now determines where we go in the future, right? Like, some people believe that your path is already paved and you can just skate through life, and if you're meant to be rich, you'll be rich, and if you're meant to be poor, you'll be poor. I personally believe that we choose some of the experiences that we go through so that we can grow through them and enhance our experience here on this planet, right? Okay, so let's talk about this relationship stuff. There are different ways that people are trying to get to their highest level of happiness. Some people, it's a high bank account. Some people, they want love, right? They really want to be loved. They want to have a family. I know so many people that can find love like this, but they cannot get their money story under control. I also have lots of people in my life who have tons of money, but they cannot figure out how to have an authentic relationship with anyone, right? So I'm going to tell you guys my husband and I's story, and I really wanted him to be on this live, but he's actually picking up my camper for me. Will you go get that bottle from Dixie for me, please? Hurry, because she's making a lot of noise. Dixie! Go get it real quick, and then I'll answer your question, because it makes a ton of noise on a live. I love my kids and my dogs. Can you guys hear that? She likes to tear up bottles. Do your dogs play with funny things? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Good. Okay, so I kind of lost my train of thought because of the noise. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Okay, so one of the things is people say, once I find the perfect man, then I'll be happy. Once I find the perfect woman, then I'll be inspired. Once I find, this perfect place to be and this perfect if I meet this perfect man in this perfect situation and he asks me out and he asks me to marry him in this perfect situation, that is when I'm going to be happy. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not how it works. Hi. I love you. Yeah, I love you. Thank you for the kisses. Okay, what? Real quick.
I don't want to go camping.
I know. We're not going to go tonight.
I've all this,
Okay, go upstairs and I'll talk to you about it in a minute. I love you too.
You.
Mwah. Okay, so when we start to work on ourselves, that is when we start to attract the perfect mate or the perfect aligned meeting per se, okay? So one of the things that Nick and I have been through, I'm going to tell you guys my story really quickly because a lot of people don't know. And I like to tell stories because they inspire people, right? And when you get your story out there, I'm not telling my story because my life is perfect and I have all my crap figured out, because I promise you I don't. Still to this day, will never have all my stuff figured out, and I am the way of studies. So I'm always going to be having my nose in a book or learning something. So I was married for 4 years, right after I got out of the military, married for 4 years, incredible travel partner, just not a good relationship. Took me lots of counseling, lots of figuring out who I was to feel like I wasn't failing, right? Because when I grew up, I was taught that divorce is like the big no-no. Like, you get married and it is through sickness and in health. It is till death do you part. And it is like, you do not give up on yourself or this marriage. And so lots and lots and lots of marriage counseling. And when my counselor finally told me, she said, Amanda, I want you to pack a bag. When you're ready to go, you'll know, have everything you need in there. And then when it's time, I want it to happen. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I ready? And then literally like a week later, I got my answer, packed my bags, took my animals, and I was actually living in England at the time, had to go through our entire house, separate it through military stuff. Like, it was a disaster, but I moved back home. When I moved back home, I was on a mission to figure out my crap, right? I got 3 jobs, was going to pay off all of my bills. We had tons of credit card debt, you guys, tons of credit card debt. We traveled and traveled and traveled, put it all on credit cards. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't giving or taking more or less than I needed to in that marriage. We split everything half and half. He took the 2 cats, I took the dog, right? Like, we split everything with thousands of DVDs, cut them right down the middle, and then split everything. Well, we also split the credit card debt because that's just what you do. So I needed to get that stuff paid off. Well, I ended up moving to Grand Junction, Colorado, because I couldn't stay at my parents for very long, working 3 jobs. It was kind of a nightmare. So ended up getting a house in Grand Junction, Colorado, packed it full of roommates because that's how you make money, right? You have roommates, and I was single now. And I actually got a job at an oil field company, and I was in training, and I was 25 at the time, maybe 26. Anyway, I was young. So this man pulls up on a Harley, and I looked at the woman I was training with, and I said, oh my gosh, who is that? And she said, that's Nick Smith. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's my soulmate. That's the man I've been waiting for my entire life. And she looked at me and she was like, really? And I was like, I don't even have to see his face. I don't have to see anything about him. He is the man I've been waiting for my entire life. Like, this is it. He's the man. And she was like, well, he's like kind of married. And I was like, oh no, right? Well, he was going through a divorce and all of that good stuff. And so we actually just started hanging out. Nothing bad, nothing that would deter marriage vows or any of that kind of stuff. How many years ago were you in Grand Junction? I was there from 2006 to 2009. Yes. And so I actually rode a motorcycle. We loved motorcycles back then. And so he actually took me on a motorcycle date where he took me to go get my motorcycle. Then we ran around all over Grand Junction, and it was absolutely beautiful. Started kind of hanging out, not really serious, a couple phone calls, couple dates at Starbucks, nothing big. But I knew I was going to marry this man. I knew that we were going to have children together. I knew that he was my soulmate. And we could not be more opposites, right? I talk all the time. I have this huge heart. Like, I'm just like this crazy entrepreneurial style woman, and my husband is this very strong, quiet, observant, never changing, never wavering man. And so we broke up like 100 different times. Well, one day he said that he wanted to have kids, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I knew we were going to have kids. Yes, this is about a year into our relationship. And after his divorce was final and my divorce was final and all that good stuff, right? So we got pregnant, and Cadence was born. And 2 months after she was born, you guys, his father was killed by a drunk driver. He was actually on a motorcycle coming home, and he was killed just less than 20 minutes from our house, and from his house. And so we got this horrible phone call, and it literally destroyed us. And it makes me want to cry thinking about it, because going back to that time, I was a brand new mother. My husband was just trying to take care of his new family, and his dad was only 42 years old. Very, very, very unexpected. And so voila, we moved from Grand Junction to Vernal, Utah. And my husband said, I promise we'll only be here for a year. And I was like, okay, we'll only be here for a year. That's totally fine. And now it's been 8 years, almost 9 years. But that's okay, because it has been 9 years, because my daughter just turned 9. So it's been 9 years since we've been here. But during that time, we were dealing with not only being a newly married couple with a brand new baby, the loss of his very young father, but then a year later, on the exact same day of his father's death, my dad went missing. And for those of you guys know that story, that was a 3-year-long adventure. In between that, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. I never claimed the cancer. The cancer just came so that I could do a lot of healing work. And through this, my husband and I seemed to somehow match each other's vibration, right? So when he was struggling a lot, I was strong, and I was powerful, and I could handle our life. And then when I was weak, he was so strong, you guys. He went through all kinds of stuff, right? Like I went through habits, he went through habits. We definitely dealt with our normal addictions, right? Like alcohol and nicotine, that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but it's true. That's how we dealt with our stuff. We had roommates, we had craziness, we had all kinds of stuff going on. If you guys can relate to any part of my story, please drop an emoji in the comments, because I'm not telling you guys this story because I want sympathy or anything. I want to know that there's other people out there that have dealt with this stuff. So, right after Nick's dad had passed away, we actually were in the middle of filing a bankruptcy. And because of how all of it happened, we weren't able to file that bankruptcy. So we were left with loads of debt. You guys, like over $300,000 in debt. It was crazy. But we worked our way through that. So here we are, brand new married couple in our first 4 years of marriage. And we have not only dealt with the death of both of our fathers, me having cancer, 2 babies, moving from one state to the other, and dealing with addictions, right? Like this was hell. Not only that, but you've got my crazy entrepreneurial brain that when Kinley was born, I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur and start a business and like make our lives successful and all this stuff. So none of this is easy, okay? None of being in a relationship is easy. Communication is huge, but it's still, if you're not, even if you're communicating, but you're not being able to be honest with each other, there's going to be some stuff that comes up. My husband and I have been through marriage counseling. We have lived separately for up to 5 weeks in the last 10 years. We have literally had more stuff hit us in our relationship than anybody I personally know, honestly. So after we found my dad's body, we actually almost lost Kinley. She almost passed away, which is such a heartbreaking story, but has such a beautiful ending because she got really super sick. And she got a staph infection that ate all of the skin off of the outside and the inside of her body off, like in her mouth and her nose and inside of her ears, in between her toes and in between her fingers. And she was very, very young, right? Like, and then they found my dad that same weekend that they figured out how to fix her. They found my father. And then we dealt with all of that loss and heartache and all the stuff that comes along with that. So this is in the first 4 years of our marriage, you guys. And then here I go starting these businesses, right? I had a lotion company. I sold oils. I did jewelry. I got into the health and wellness nutrition world. I was kicking butt and taking names, and all the while being a server. So here I was, and my husband has always been super successful in his business. He's been in the oil field. He's in the same company that his dad was a part of. And he just kept providing for our family. He's this rock. I tell people all the time, he's the rock that rolls slowly on the ground, and I am the kite that is tied to this rock, and I am waving all over the place, and we are complete and total polar opposites. But have you ever been told that you and Nick went through more in the first year of your marriage than most do an entire length of a lifelong marriage? Yes. It's actually kind of crazy because here's an added story. While I was in my very first health and wellness company, I was being mentored by some of the most incredible people. And I walked up to this man and I said, I need advice. I'm getting ready to leave my husband. Like, I want a divorce. This is crazy. I can't do this anymore. And he looked at me, and you guys know him. He's very well known in the world of The Secret. And he said to me, he said, why would you divorce your husband when you haven't fixed yourself? And I was like, oh, right to the heart, right? Like, oh, it's not his problems, it's my problems. And if I don't fix me, if I don't work on me, then I'm just going to find a man that has the same problems that we have because I haven't fixed my stuff, right? So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about relationships. Look back on your life and see the types of relationships that you have had. Have you been in a relationship that is verbally abusive? Have you had a relationship where money is always a problem? Have you had the same type of relationship with 3 or 4 different people and it's the same fights? You can't remember if you had this fight with this boyfriend or if you had this fight with this girlfriend, right? This is karmic stuff, you guys. This is coming into your space so that you can work on it. How do you work on it, right? You got to peel the layers. You got to do the work. You got to journal around it. You got to do the healings. You got to go deep inside. And this is what I've realized doing these readings on this app. I realized that so many of us blame someone else for the problems that we have in our life, right? And I can take all of the problems I've had in my relationships with my friends, with my social world, with Facebook, with my husband, with my family, and I can take it and I can see all of the lessons that I was being pushed to learn and how I overcame them to handle bigger obstacles and bigger problems and more and different struggles, right? So one of the things that is so super important to do in any kind of relationship is set the foundation, okay? Set the foundation, honesty, communication, set some goals together. What do you want to happen in your life? Where do you see yourselves in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, and in 10 years? And that has been one of the best things that has put Nick and I on the same page. And like I said, I really wanted him to come down here because a lot of you don't know my husband. He has a beard. He is an incredibly powerful Viking energy. He's super quiet. He doesn't post a lot on Facebook. He doesn't put his opinion out there very much. He loves hunting. He loves providing for our family, and he's an incredibly strong man, right? And he's also an amazing father. We've had our ups and downs though. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys back. When I was in this health and wellness company, I saw that it was like needed to have something changed. I was also in a very, very low point in my life personally with my dad going missing. Nick and I were fighting. Money was super tight. I was dumping tons of money into traveling, and some situations happened where I actually left that company, but I didn't leave it correctly. I did everything wrong, right? And I take full responsibility for all of those choices. And I quit network marketing. I was done. Never going to do it again. Well, then, of course, 6 months later, here comes another network marketing company. Here comes another opportunity. Thought about starting my own network marketing company, launched a couple of my own businesses, you know, that kind of stuff. And even was going to do something like soap, or I don't know what I was going to do back then. But lo and behold, I found a company, and I was really super excited to join this company, bought the package, talked to the sponsors, all that good stuff. And then I found something else, and I was part of that for 3.5 years. That is where I grew the most, right? I went from being like, never again, this is not what I want to do, to going to the top rank of that company in less than 9 months, having over 40,000 people in our organization. And then I started to get into this mindset, right? There was this sadness that was coming in that I just couldn't get rid of. I couldn't get rid of it. And so I sat in that for about a year thinking, you know, is there anything more I can do? I'm going to go do this. I'm going to travel. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And so I wanted to launch my coaching business, and here we are today. So the reason I'm telling you about all of this stuff is because when you are in a relationship, there are ideals that come with what a relationship looks like. And one of the things, you guys still have this new moon energy. If you're searching for the perfect relationship, if you want a different social group, if you want to have an ideal friendship, if you want to have this quote unquote tribe or this soul family or whatever it is you're looking for, now is the time to create it. And how do you create it? You literally go in and you start writing down what it is you want to create. I want a group of women that love each other unconditionally. I want a group of women that no matter what kind of business they're part of, they raise each other up and they will support each other no matter what, right? I want to be part of a social community that has spiritual beliefs and all this stuff, whatever it is, you guys. I want a man this is an example because I've already got my man, but I want a man that's 6 foot tall or taller, blue eyes, has a good job, is good with money, wants to have kids, doesn't want to have kids, right? Or I want this perfect woman. I want this woman to have long hair or enjoy having long hair. I want this woman to be a businesswoman, independent, a good cook, whatever it is. Write that stuff down because you are creating it. And then you have to go to work on you. Right? And I get this excuse all the time. I don't read books, Amanda. I don't read books. I'm sorry. I just can't read books. There's Audible. You can watch. Most books have been turned into movies. You'll still get the same, like watch The Secret for every day for 30 days. I promise it'll change your life. Or watch movies like I Can Only Imagine that inspire you and bring up this creativity to have you look at your life. And then Watch what starts to happen when you're not just sitting and watching other people's reality TVs or watching the news, which is only one side of a story. I loved the meme I got today. It's of Prince William, I think, and he's holding up 3 fingers. And then when you switch his 3 fingers, it looks like he's flipping you off. And I was like, whoa, perception is so crazy. So my live today is on what kind of relationships do you want to have in your life? Where do you see your relationships from this moment forward? And how have the relationships you've had in your past served you to create what you want today? There is not one single relationship that I have had in my entire life that I would take back, because I loved each person wholeheartedly, unconditionally, to the best of my ability. I screwed up. We all screw up, right? Like, we're not perfect humans, and anybody who tells you they're perfect, I'm sorry, they're not. Like, we're all working on our own shit. But you have this opportunity to create something that you want. Okay, that's my live for the day. I am so excited to, if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. If you're joining me live, oh my gosh, my phone, it's funny. If you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. If you watch this live, hashtag live, or drop me an emoji of some sort. If I created value for you, share, because I love being able to get my social media out there. And if it creates some sort of value, say you have a friend that is having a hard time with relationships and you're afraid that you don't want to tell them, like, hey, it's all your fault you're having all these crappy relationships, right? Maybe sharing this would help them, right? And that's what I love. And if it created value for you, hashtag value. I am getting ready to get a new backdrop. So elephants are the theme of the month. So I've already got my elephant for this month, and he's getting ready to go up. He will be up on the 15th. So this one will change. Say goodbye to this massive beauty. And then we're going to put up more of a little elegant watercolor one. But I have options for August. A lion, rainforests, or your favorite animal. Whatever you guys decide. And I'm going to put a poll up on my personal Facebook page, and I would love for you guys to vote. What do you want to have as a background from Amanda in her basement for the month of August? I will switch it out 2 times. So if you guys pick lions, I'll have 2 different lions. If you pick panda bears, I'll have 2 different panda bears. Whatever you guys decide. If you want, spring, autumn, fall, or if you want, I've got lotus flowers. I find these on wish.com. So if you guys aren't part of Wish, they're not expensive. They're fun. I can move them around. And eventually I will have my own painted background that I'm working on at the moment. And I would love any ideas you guys have on that, because I'm thinking big wings, like what I posted on my Facebook page. But I want it to be something that inspires and creates people coming into their own power, no matter what kind of fear or what kind of situation they have come from, because I do believe that each and every single one of us deserves to live in pure bliss and pure joy. So thank you so much for being here. This is day 3 of my MLA challenge. We're doing this for 21 days. So we've got 19 days left of this. If you guys have topics you want me to cover, lay them in the comments. I am all about talking about whatever you guys want, if I can create some value on it for you. All right, you guys have an absolutely beautiful weekend, a beautiful Friday the 13th or the rest of it. And be blessed, you guys, because this life is perfectly perfect, no matter what you're going through.